if you can't take care of yourself first, what makes you think you can take care of your future wife or your future children?
Right on.
Now, to your point, I think a lot of the reasons why guys are afraid to take that step is the financial aspect. Because obviously, rent is high right now. Moving out of your parents' house means you're going to have to take on a lot more personal responsibility with your finances, like more gas, groceries, utilities, water, Wi-Fi, TV if you have. I mean, all these different expenses.
For sure.
And especially buying a house is going to be expensive for anybody our age. So there's a lot of just fear out there with your money of just, will I be able to survive? And I think a lot of parents have good intentions while they're saying, stay at home, Junior, stay at home, Sally. It's okay, save your money. But I will say to that point that respectfully, you are hindering your son or daughter from becoming the best version of themselves. I say that with all due respect, but if you want your son or daughter to become the best version of themselves and pursue the purpose they were created to do, they need to move out. They need to embrace that adversity. Anyway.
Totally
agree.
agree.
Yeah, but to the financial point, I think the reason why so many young people are afraid of their money in this situation, moving out, is that they're not being intentional with their money. They have no plan for their money. Okay, if you ask most young people what a budget is, I think most of them would say, I have no idea. At least in my experience, there's very few people I know at our age, in their young 20s, that know how to budget. A budget is an intentional plan for your money. There's a lot of confusion about that. It's a very simple concept. It is an intentional plan for your money. And intentionality has so much power over your life in many ways, but especially with your money. For instance, if you want to be intentional with losing weight, well, you need to have a plan. You need to go exercise. You need to eat healthy foods. If you want to be intentional about getting more sleep every night, okay, we need to set a bedtime. We need to get up earlier. We need to get 8 hours of sleep, whatever that may be.
Sure.
With your money, it's no different. If you get your paycheck on Monday, or you get your paycheck on Friday, and you have fun over the weekend, and you get to Monday and you're like, wait a minute, where did that paycheck go? That you're not being intentional with your money. You have no plan. And when you don't have a plan for any aspect of your life, when you're not being intentional, you fail. As this quote, somebody, I don't remember who says it, but those who are failing, those who fail to prepare are preparing to fail. That's how it goes.
Boom.
Those
Nice.
who fail to prepare are preparing to fail. Same thing with your money. Now, that is a reason I think most young people, most young men especially, are afraid to move out, because they don't know how much they're saving. They don't know how much they're spending. They don't know how much they're making sometimes. But when you get on a budget, a written monthly budget, which is the short version, it's a zero-based budget. Income minus your liabilities equals zero. You just take your income, subtract all of your expenses. Not liabilities, I'm sorry. Income minus expenses equals zero. And that doesn't mean you have $0 left over. That means that every dollar that you earn of your income has a purpose. That is expenses, savings, saving for a house, paying off debt,
Investments.
groceries, all these things. And when you have that intentionality, when you have a plan and say, okay, I can save this much money a month, or I can afford this much in rent every month. When you have that, then you have more confidence about, hey, I could actually move out now because I know that I could survive financially. You have the plan. Another problem that a lot of young men and women have when it comes to moving out is debt.
Yeah.
We are living in a culture that is deeply in debt. Student loan debt is almost at $2 trillion. It's going to be there in no time because it keeps climbing.
Yeah.
Credit card
With
debt is out
interest,
the
too.
roof. Credit card debt, even among college students, is very high. The average student loan debt in America right now for a graduating college student is around $37,000. You could buy a nice car with that, or that would be that could be a down payment on a house.
Easy.
That could be, you could rent for years on that. I mean, there's that right there, combined with no intentionality for a plan, is what's hurting our generation so much. Now, if you are someone listening to this who say that you have a lot of student loan debt, you have a lot of credit card debt, maybe you have a car payment, for instance, my advice for you would be to do this. the first thing you need to do is save a $1,000 emergency fund. Okay, save a $1,000 emergency fund. Have that. That right there can be your insurance against going back into debt. Because the more you go into debt, the more that sucks away your largest wealth building tool, which is your income. Your income is drained by all this debt. You've got to get these debts paid off so you'll free up that income, and then you can use it towards things you want to use it towards, not be paying off your past with debt. So, if you have that, save up a $1,000 emergency fund. That will give you some cushion. That'll give you a little breathing room. Then, pay off your debts from smallest to largest. Let's say your credit card debt's $1,000, student loans are $20,000. Pay that $1,000 off on your credit card and cut that sucker up. Use a debit card instead. And then, attack your student loans. Do it like that, and that way your momentum is going to kick in there. You'll build momentum. Forget about the interest rate for a little bit. Just focus on smallest debts, pay that off first, then move on to the second, and then et cetera, et cetera. Those steps will help you pay off your debt. And I would highly recommend anyone who's listening to check out Dave Ramsey, Ramsey Solutions. I'm one of their Ramsey preferred coaches, so I help people get out of debt like this all the time. And that process that they have is very simple, but it's not easy. It's almost so simple that you think it's not sophisticated enough, but trust me, it works. It's hard, but it works.
Sure.
If you are somebody like that, I highly recommend check them out. But yeah, be intentional with your money, man, and have a plan for moving out. I would say move out in terms of months, not years. That would be my plan. I'm not saying you have to go out tomorrow if you're somebody still living at home, but I would have a plan for that. Don't just wing it. Don't just say, well, I'll move out one day. Don't do that. And think about it like this, too, from a relationship point of view. How many of you young men, let's put it this way. If you say you meet an attractive girl and you ask her on a date, that girl's dad, do you guys really think that girl's dad is going to prefer her to date a guy that's still living at home? Or do you think he's going to prefer her to be dating somebody who is in control of his money and is on his own? He's financially independent, either renting or he has a house, whatever. Mm-hmm. It's obviously the latter.